dusty jacket from the Joni Mitchell record. It's a classic. I'll be right behind you, Josephine. I won't leave you waiting in between. And the cigarette you bummed from me is almost burning out. Suck it till your fingers burn. Throw it on the ground. I'll be right behind you, Josephine. Even after everything we've seen in this sterile room with blinding lights and faces pointing down. I only wanna scream, but still I just can't make a sound. Were there ever really better days? Or is it just a sentimental haze? A blanket safe and warm, a shelter from the stormy skies. The fights are all forgotten in the mist. The lonely tears are lost in the abyss. The grass is always green, the house is always clean. The smiles never seem to fade.
그냥 다 해. 그냥 어디를 지우려 끌 거.
역시 하나만 안
Were there ever really better days? In photographs of sepia and gray, the family huddled tight beneath the perfect light of dusk. Stand before the camera and change cheeks. And for the slightest moment we all freeze, with smiles open wide. We're frozen there in time, our sorrows hidden deep inside our minds.